Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Simplify Webinars. We're so glad you could join us today. If you've been following our series, you know we love bringing you real conversations about the tools, ideas, and strategies that are reshaping how businesses work. Today, we're diving into all things ProcessMaker, one of our favorite platforms for building smart, scalable workflows without the need for heavy coding. Whether you're just starting with automation or you've been optimizing processes for years, this one's for you. I'm joined today by Sergio from ProcessMaker, someone who's been working across the globe helping teams bring automation to life. He'll be walking us through what ProcessMaker actually is, why it's different, and giving us a live demo of how it works. If you have any questions as we go, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll do our best to get to them during or after our demo. But first, Sergio, if you'd like to share about yourself and give us a little bit of background.
Of course. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. Let me give you, you know, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm international sales lead here at ProcessMaker. I'll tell you a little bit more about ProcessMaker, who we are and what we do. I've been working for the company for 15 years now in what it's called business process management solutions, business process automation, international sales. I had the opportunity to work in different regions, work in North America, in the US, Canada, also Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean, Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, and pretty much all over the world. And at the time when I joined the company, we used to have different deployment formats. We used to have on-premise deployments and SaaS as well. Right now, we're more focused on SaaS, which is something I'll tell you more about it, later on. So I also, contributed to build a global partner network. I've trained, enabled, and assisted a wide range of partners, including referral partners, service providers, resellers, white label partners, and OEM partners worldwide. Um, it's been a journey. 15 years. I mean, it's quite some time. So I've had a chance to meet a lot of great people. Learn about different cultures, and work with companies in multiple industries. Some of the companies that I work with now are US Fortune 500 companies, SMEs, large size companies, and in industries like financial services, manufacturing, energy, telecom, healthcare, government, higher education, and many other industries. ProcessMaker is a software that can be deployed in any company that is mature enough to automate their business processes. As a company, I could tell you, a little bit more about what we do and who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we specialize in business process automation, right? That's our bread and butter. You could say that that's what we do, and that's what we've been doing, for the past 21 years now. So as a company, we are headquartered in the Raleigh Durham area in North Carolina. We have offices in other regions as well. Um, we have clients in 55 countries as of now. We do intelligent document processing, we do process intelligence, and agentic AI, which is something that we'll cover probably in different webinars. In this webinar, we're going to focus on business process automation, and we want to talk about specifically on how AI can assist you in creating your business process models and how you can automate your business processes with AI, with the assistance of AI. So that's just a quick intro on who we are, what we do, and myself.
And, thanks for that, Sergio. I think that's what a great, I'm very inspired and that's amazing. I'm, at the beginning of my career here and to hear that 15 plus years having such a wide and diverse experience background. I'm sure you've seen a lot and worked with a lot of different kinds of people. Before we get into the demo, I just wanted to ask, why would someone use Process Maker over some other workflow automation tool? What makes it stand out?
That's a great question because if you take a look at the marketplace, there are over 80 different solutions for business process automation. The one thing you have to consider is that we are leading the market. We're leaders in business process automation. If you go to Gartner and other sites where you can review software, we're leading the space. We've been doing this for 24 years now. It's 21, so it's actually 24 years. So we have a lot of experience, right, in terms of business process automation. The teams that we work with, the professional services team that are in charge of deploying projects for our clients, have been with us, 10 years, 15 years in some cases. So they have a lot of experience, implementing projects with ProcessMaker and specifically in business process automation. So all of that knowledge gets across to the client, because what we want is we want to empower our clients so they can implement their own processes themselves. So we
Mm,
take them through a learning curve, which is a very short learning curve, 2 months on average, where we give them the tools so they can have the skills so they can automate their own processes, right? And part of that learning curve is getting across those best practices and methodologies that our team can provide. And the other aspect of process maker and what makes us different is that every 3 months we are releasing new capabilities in the platform. Every 3 months we are incorporating new technologies and we are innovating in the
mm,
business process automation space,
mm.
unlike other vendors, right, which pretty much have the same tech stack, same technologies, same capabilities they've been using for the past 4 or 5 years, and they have not renewed their technology, right? So that's another aspect that will make process different. And the last one I will touch on is the level of support services that we provide. So if you talk to any of our clients, they're going to tell you that they're very happy with the service that they get from our support services team and the other teams that we work with. So that's something that really is encouraging. And that's something that we have not heard from other companies that are using other types of tools. And actually, these companies that decided to move away from another business process automation tool and embrace Process Maker, they told us that in most cases the support services they get from other vendors are not the best, right? So
Mm.
those are the three points I will touch on in terms of differentiators.
Perfect. Thanks for that intro. I think it's time we see it in action. I think we can get into the demo. So if you want to take us inside the platform and show us how it works.
Yeah, so yeah, can you see my screen? I should be able to see the login screen here.
Yep. Yep.
So, as I mentioned, what we're going to do in this session, we're going to dive into what Process Maker is in terms of business process modeling, how we use AI to assist you with process modeling, and how we use AI at different levels in the platform, right? So I'm going to log in as an admin user. First, I'm going to kind of walk you through what we have here. We have these assets that you see, which are processes, screens, scripts. I can tell you, a little bit about what these are for.
Yeah.
Processes are where you create your processes, right? This is the process modeler, where you have a full BPMN 2.0 compliant modeler where you can create your process maps. Then you have screens, which are forms, web forms in this case, that have different types of, can be an email type of display or form. It can be, a conversational form, different type of screens that can be created that will be associated with different tasks that you create in the process map. And then you have scripts. Scripts. One of the interesting points about Process Maker as a technology is that you can create scripts in multiple languages. We are a local platform, which means that you don't need to create, a script to automate a process, but you can use a script to extend the capability of the platform, right? And if you're familiar with, I don't know, Lua or PHP or C Sharp or Python, whatever language you like or you work with, you can use them because we are language agnostic. So pretty much support all languages that are out there available. Then you have decision tables, where you can have all of these business rules in place and manage them from one place instead of doing it in the process modeler. Data connector is something you will use to integrate with third-party applications to either pull or push data as you're executing a process. Flow Genie is just kind of our trademark. We have created this capability that allows you to leverage third-party AI uh, capabilities. So in some cases, you can leverage ChatGPT-4, OpenAI to and I'll show you some examples. But the idea is to provide instructions, and based on the instructions that you provide, you'll be able to get a response that you can consume in the automated workflow. And finally, you have collections, which operates like a table in a database. The
Mm-hmm.
difference is that whenever you create a collection, that collection can be accessed via REST API, right? Unlike if you have a relational database, you'll have to create different tables, and those you'll need to use SQL probably to query those tables and get the data. In ProcessMaker 4, you have collections, right? So those can be accessed via REST API. And that's another point I'd like to touch on, is that we're seeing ProcessMaker 4 right now. So there have been three other versions of ProcessMaker that have been released, in the past, in these 24 years that we've been doing business. Um, so there's a lot of lessons learned that we have
Yeah.
incorporated in this new version.
Yeah, and especially as, technology is changing day to day in our, you know, overall, I think it's important to keep up with all the best practices it seems like you guys are doing.
Exactly, that's exactly right. So right now, what I'm going to show you is how you can create a process from scratch using AI. As you can see here, there are different ways to do that. You can create your own process, using the process modeler from scratch. You can use some of the processes that you have in this library of templates. You
Hmm.
can generate from AI, and you can also import a process map from Process Intelligence, which is another product that I will tell you, more about later on. But those are the options you have, right? So I'm going to click on Generate from AI. So here's the AI assistant, and here's what we call text to process. This is a prompt that we use to enter, a description of a process that we want to model. So let's say create a purchase request process here, and then click on generate. I'm going to keep it very generic, very simple. What we're doing right now is we're using natural language to enter a description of a process, and based off of that description, the process map will be automatically generated, right? So it can be any process. Let's say create a leave of absence request process, and I have a few examples where I have already, a description of different processes that we can use, so we don't spend that much time, entering descriptions here. So let's say this one. This is an invoice approval process, right? Same thing. It takes, about 4 to 5 seconds to kind of process all this uh, information that I have entered, and then it's going to come up with the process map, as you can see here.
And how accurate is the process that gets generated? Does it typically need a lot of tweaking, or would you say it's pretty accurate from, the input?
I would say it will depend on the accuracy of the description, right? If you're very accurate in your description, the process map is going to reflect that. But if you're vague, or it's not going to be that representative of that
So the
description.
more the more details, the better.
The more details, the better, and the more concise you are, the better as well, right? Because sometimes companies think that, okay, I have documented my processes. I have this document with 15 pages, um, and I want just plop it all in this prompt, and see what this comes up with. No, that doesn't work that way, because a lot of that information that you have in that documentation is not strictly related to the sequence that different tasks will follow when you're executing the process. So that's why you need to be concise, and you need to enter a description in a sequential manner, so the engine can understand what things comes after what. So that's how it works. um, so this can be translated to any language. Can you tell me a language you like to translate this to? Any
We
language you
can
can think
we
of?
we can do Serbian.
Okay, let's do that. Let's try the answer in Serbian. Let's see what comes up. again, 4 to 5 seconds. And you know, one thing that I really like about this is that this process model is a BPMN 2.0 compliant process model, right? So I'm not that quite familiar with Serbian, but I mean, you can tell me if this is accurate
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah. I can say that this is accurate. It's a good translation.
Great. So let's say you have a process. We're going to use a different language here. Another example. Let's say you have a process where you have sub processes, right? So I'm going to use in this case, let's go with Spanish and click generate. So in this description, I have specified that, one specific task is a sub process, right? So you can see that, this box right here has a thicker black line. So that means that, it's a sub process. So you can also have, sub processes mapped out using AI, with text to process, which is another aspect of this. So it's pretty much up to, how accurate you are when you are into a description for these process maps. And that's what we call text to process. I'm going to switch to another one that is called image to process. So here I'm going to pull up, an image of a flowchart, or in this case, a process diagram created in Visio, right? So as you can see here, this is an image, right? This is a PNG file. So it can be any image, even if you have a drawing on a white piece of paper of a process. You can take a picture of that and upload it to ProcessMaker, and then based off of that image, the ProcessMaker engine is going to come up with a process map. Now, when we talk about images, and we use images to have these process maps being generated with AI, that can be subject to interpretation, right? Because sometimes images are not that clear, and sometimes images have a lot of swim lanes, so that could be confusing for the engine. So let me pull it up again, so we can compare, the image of this flowchart that we have uploaded. This is a flowchart that was created in Visio, right? Has a start event, has two sequential tasks, and then two parallel tasks, and then a few routing rules based on a few business rules like the amount. So if you take a look at what we have on the left side, you have this start event, you have those two sequential tasks, and there is this gateway in between the second task and the two parallel tasks, right? But if you take a look at the image that we just uploaded, that Visio image, it does not contain, that gateway or that element. So why is it that this gateway has been added to the process map? That's because when you create processes following, the BPMN 2.0 notation, there must be a gateway between a sequential task and two parallel tasks, or more, parallel tasks. So this process map is in compliance with BPMN 2.0, right? So those are some of the things that Process Maker is going to do. So the process maps that are translated from an image are BPMN 2.0 compliant in this case. So it's not just, recreating what you have in that image. It's also adding those elements so this stays in compliance with the standard, with the notation. And unlike, text to process, when we use image to process, you have three different alternatives. So you can then choose the one that is more similar to the image that you uploaded, right? So let's say this first one is the one that I want to work with, right? And to your point, if you want to tweak it or whatnot, you can do it. For that, you will have to click on Use Model and enter a name for this. Let's call it Simplify Webinar. And then I'm going to click Save. So that's going to take me to the process modeler, where I can, like any other process modeling tool, You can, drag and drop your elements using point and click capabilities. In this case, you can come up with your own process maps and tweak it in any way you want. So on the left side, you have all of these elements like start events, intermediate events, end events, and all of these are, the ones that come, these controls that come with, BPMN 2.0. These are the most common ones. So yeah, the way you know, place them in the canvas, just, we use point and
Drag
click.
and drop. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have drag and drop, but just we realized that point and click is just faster.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
why we're using point and click nowadays
Mm-hmm.
in the modeler. So that's how you add them. But what I want to
Mm-hmm.
show you before we create a process from scratch using the process modeler are other capabilities related to AI, right? When it comes
Mm-hmm.
to automation. So here, for example, I've noticed that these two tasks have the same name, finance approval, right? So I want to differentiate them. So I'm going to enter a different name for these tasks because otherwise, it's going to be the same. I'm not going to know which task is being executed. So I just quickly made a change there. And now I'm going to click on this create now button. So this is very interesting because what it's going to do is it's going to create your missing assets with AI. So right now, the AI engine is working, on creating screens and those business rules that's going to help you execute this process. So you can see that there are green tasks, there are blue tasks, and then there are the ones that have not been processed yet. Green means that these tasks have screens already, and those screens have been created by the AI engine, right? Those that are in blue are being processed by AI, and once we have all tasks in green color, we're going to be able to execute the process.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get a message, right, that all screens and assets have been added, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Assets generate successfully. So all I need to do now is assign a user to execute this process. So let's say I'm going to go with the admin user. And now all I need to do is publish the process. So by publishing the process, I will be able to have that process listed in the list of available processes that I can execute. Here, there are a few options. We're not going to use them. We can, upload images and whatnot, so the end user knows what that process is about and whatnot. So I'm gonna choose an icon and just click save. So now the process is ready to be executed, right? And for that, I'm gonna click on processes. I'm gonna open up a new tab, and here we're gonna enter a keyword because here I have, dozens of processes. So let's say the keyword will be webinar. So there's a process we just created, and I'm gonna click on start this process. So what's happening right now is I'm being taken to a screen or a web form that was created for the first task. So let me switch to the previous tab here. Right now, I'm sitting on this task. This is the PR submission task. The screen that you're seeing was created by AI for this task, right? So that's the screen you have here, and that's where we are right now. So I'm just gonna
And
enter a description here. Yep.
can you edit these screens once they're made, or is this kind of how the screen is, or you have to do some more editing in the back end?
So yeah, that's a great question. So this is you will use this feature if you want to see the process running in less than 2 minutes to see how, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to play out and how users can interact with. But, we know that, if you want to deploy this process in production mode, maybe you need to add logos, change colors, and add more
Mm-hmm.
functionality to those. So you can do that using the screen builder,
Mm-hmm.
just as in the process
Mm-hmm.
modeler. You can, move things around and tweak it. Same thing with the screens, right? And I'll show you, how you can do
Mm-hmm.
that in the platform
Mm-hmm.
in a bit. So here, let's say it's a laptop purchase. It's going to be a Dell laptop. I don't know. I like Dells. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on Macs or
Riddell's.
Dells? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it's going to be $1,600 dollars for the laptop, and then it's going to be finance, and I need this by June 20th, right? So you can see that all of these fields have been added and automatically created by AI in the context of the process. So now let's say, well, it's not really an urgent request, so I'm gonna upload a file here. I get the option to upload a file. So I'm gonna just upload a PDF document. Let's say it's the quote that I got from the vendor, and then I'm gonna submit this request, right? So since I clicked on submit request, again, I want to go back to the process map. I have completed this first task, and now um, I have assigned, this request to this other task, which is called department head approval. And that's the form or screen that we're going to see, right? So that's the screen you're seeing right now. I have all those fields with data in it that come from the previous user, and then there are some additional information that I need to add here. So let's say we're just going to enter some random data. Non-justification. This will be approved, and I can add comments there if I want, and I can even enter a signature.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to submit this for approval. So now that I do that, this goes to the two parallel tasks that we have in the process map, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can continue on executing the process. But some of the things that I want to show you are, how you can keep track of these process. Um, if I want to look at the process map and see where this request is sitting uh, on in the process, I can do that from here. So let's click on cases. It's going to show you a dashboard with all the cases that are being executed. In this case, those that are in progress, completed, all cases, my requests and whatnot. So let's click on the last one, 286, which is the one that we just created. So here we have what we call the in-flight process map. So for this specific request, which is request 286 for this process, simplify webinar, you can see that these two tasks are in green color because these have been completed.
Mm-hmm.
Those two tasks in blue color are those that are the parallel tasks that are in progress. No, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have the gray ones which are pending, not executed. So that's how you can keep track of in real time of the status of any request using the in-flight process map, right? And on top of that, you can click on any of these tasks and see the status, right? Who completed the
Mm-hmm.
case, when was started, when was completed. You're not going to have that in these blue tasks because again, this is in progress and have not been completed yet. So there's some information there, but needs,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's kind of how it works. And then you have this other tab where you can see all the different screens that were filled out by different users. So here's the first one, right? The PR submission. You can see that all the data that was entered there, the request, and same thing for the approval made by the supervisor in the second task. So here's that second screen different fields, and the signature there, right? So in case there are files that are uploaded to these screens, you can see them under File Manager here. So you click on that file, in this case, that quote, and you'll have a preview of that document that was uploaded there.
Mm,
You can download it, have it in full screen mode. You can make comments on this document, tag people here,
mm,
share with other people, also see different logs related to actions on this document. So, and last thing, you can also download the document if you need. So next to this is history. So you can have like an audit trail with a timestamp of different actions taken by different people as they were executing the process. And the first tab here, which is called tasks, will show you what are those pending tasks, right? And in this case, the two parallel tasks where the case is on right now. So that's how you can quickly keep track of cases.
mm,
And but what I wanted to show you with this example is how you can have an executable process from an image that you uploaded to ProcessMaker using AI, have that process automatically created in the process modeler, and have the AI create all the missing assets, different screens, business rules, and then execute that process in less than 2 minutes, right? So that's the idea. I mean, that's these are some of the capabilities you have with AI. There's a lot more capabilities that we're incorporating with AI that we're gonna have, in
mm.
future releases. But what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I was gonna ask, is the AI learning from past usage? So is it continuously getting better, or is it more of a static assistant right now? So, every time you do a new process, is it kind of learning from each usage?
Yeah. It continuously, it improves on an ongoing basis,
Mm,
and not only we improve, the outcomes that come from the AI assistant, but we are discovering that we can use AI at so many other levels in the platform that really, the sky is the limit in terms of AI. And at
mm,
the pace that that AI is moving, there are so many things that we're going to be incorporating
yeah.
in the platform. And that's going to be a topic for probably a different webinar where we're going to be talking about agentic AI, which
Mm-hmm.
is AI agents, what we use in process automation at different levels, not not for process modeling, not for um, process execution, but for actions that users will take on different requests they get. So the idea with the agentic AI, I'm just going to give you a sneak peek into what is it that we're working on, is that you have people that have been executing processes in a different in a specific way, right, based on different inputs, and based on different scenarios. People will take actions like approve, route, reject, you know based on whatever is happening in that process. So all of that history, all of those actions that were taken by these people in specific scenarios are going to a database, right? And that database is analyzed by these agents, by these AI agents. So the idea is that if you have a new request that is similar to a previous request that you have where you have taken action in the past, or is exactly the same request, we have the same characteristics in that request, the AI agent will take action on your behalf. So
Mm,
you will not need to take action on that specific request, because the AI knows that what is the action that you're actually going to
yeah.
take on that request based on the previous interactions that you have in similar
Mm,
requests. So that's kind of where we are heading in terms
that's
of AI.
cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's a bit on a. It's becoming more predictive.
For
Um,
sure. Exactly.
Yeah. And I was just gonna make, to your question earlier, what I think about Process Maker. As a background in engineering, I really like how organized and user friendly it is, and how, yeah, how really user friendly it is, and how you can see all the statuses, all the tasks, all the history. So I really like that kind of aspect of the platform as well.
Yeah, exactly. Our clients love it. So I'm gonna switch to a different capability right now
Hmm.
using AI. We've seen, the process modeler and the execution using AI. Now I want to show you what you actually touched on, uh, which is screens, right? And how these screens that have been created, then can be customized based on maybe colors, schemes, and whatnot. So let me click on new screen here, and let's just create a screen from scratch. So there are different type of screens, as you can see here: form type, email type, display, conversational, and whatnot.
Mm.
And there's a library of templates that you can use to create your own, but we're gonna go with blank template in this example. So we're gonna create a screen using AI first, and then I'll show you how you can manually create your own screen, right? So this is gonna take us a couple of minutes. So let's go with the first option, which is AI generated. So same thing. Here you have a text prompt where you will enter a description of that screen that you want to create. Let's say create a purchase request
And I'm
form.
assuming, and I'm assuming here it's also kind of the same logic. The more detailed and the more concise you are, the better the screen, or the more accurate the screen will be.
Yes, exactly. That it follows the same premise. So here I'm going to click on generate, and you can be very specific, right, about what you need to
Mm.
have in that screen, and the AI is going to come up with that. And in this case, since I'm being very generic, the AI is going to tell you, okay, for a purchase request form, you'll need the item name, quantity, price per unit, justification, department. So it already, gives you something to work with, right? If
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
not, sure about what fields should be included in these type of forms. But if you already have them, just enter a description there, and then it's going to come up with it. And it can be again in different languages, as you have seen for process maps. Um, any screen or form you like me to create here using AI for a specific process? Any process that you have in mind?
Mm. Maybe ordering new laptops.
Okay, let's say
I
that.
don't.
Let's
I
create a
had
form for.
Dell in my head from the previous form.
Oh yeah. So let's say create a form for ordering new laptops. Let's see what comes up with. So you have here
Mm.
laptop model, quantity, operating system, additional accessories, delivery address, and
Mm.
contact number, right? So, I mean, that's how easy, it
Yeah,
is to
yeah,
do
yeah.
this. But now I'm going to create a screen using these other elements. But actually, we- we're going to need more time for that. So we can save this for another webinar where I can
Hmm.
manually create a screen, right?
Hmm.
Because there are so many, web controls here that you can use. So it will be great if we can share, some of these capabilities we have in a separate session. Maybe you
Hmm.
have, input fields, content fields, and you have navigation fields, files, and advanced as well.
Hmm.
So we can use that other session to walk you through it, and also walk you through how you create a process from scratch.
Hmm.
And that way you can also appreciate all the other controls that are available for you when you create a process map. Because remember, when you create a process map in ProcessMaker, that process map is the process that you'll execute. So all of these elements that you add to the process modeler have execution components behind it, right?
Hmm.
So it's not just process map. It's just,
And
and
when
it's not
you
just process. Yep.
And when you say execute, for those that aren't as, familiar with ProcessMaker and process modeling, what do you mean by execute? If you can kind of
Yeah.
give us a.
So process modeling is just is just a drawing of a flowchart, right? Where you create different tasks in the process map and maybe document what's happening in each one of these tasks because you enter a description, you enter procedures, maybe associate policies and whatnot to that process map you just created. But you're not executing the process in the platform, right?
Mm,
You're not creating web forms that um, will allow users to have one single platform that will take care of managing what's happening from one step to the other in an orchestrated way, having siloed systems contributing to that same process, right? So that's what I mean by
mm-hmm,
automation. You have these processes being executed in just one platform. You're not going to be using Excel or email like you used to execute a process. That's what we call a manual process, right?
mm-hmm,
When you have Excel or email or you're using
mm,
some other tools. But these are siloed, tools or applications that not talk to each other. So that these are, a lot of use cases that I can show you um, on another session. But that's
mm-hmm.
the idea, right?
Yeah.
So one other thing I want to show you, since we're talking about AI, is how you can create scripts, right? Let's say we're gonna go to again designer. I'm gonna show you a real simple example of a script generated by AI. Let's call it again simplify webinar. So here you can see that on the left side there are so many languages you can choose from, like Python, JavaScript, PHP,
Mm,
and whatnot. So you just choose the one you like or the one that you're more comfortable with, and then this is going to take you to the script editor. So here I'm going to click on generate script from text, and same thing, right? As in the screen builder or the process modeler, I can enter a description for this script. So I can say, for example, create a script to sum up three variables. Um, so that's it. I mean, let's click on generate and indicate where that piece of code should go into this um, code editor, and then that's it. So the AI is going
mm.
to come up with this piece of code that you need to sum up three variables. So that's
Oh,
what you have
wow.
here. You have, I mean, for people that are maybe more familiar with this programming language, you have, the variables definition, then the function that's going to sum up these variables, and then the response, I mean, the total that go into a key value pair in
Mm,
ProcessMaker, because all data in ProcessMaker is in JSON format. So I can then consume this result in a screen
mm,
or a form that I have. So
mm,
it doesn't mean that you don't need a developer, right? It means that the 5-6 hours a developer would have invested in creating the script. In this
mm.
case,
Does
it,
it? Yeah.
I mean, like that developer will need
Yeah.
20 minutes, just to
Mm.
review the code, make some tweaks here and there, and that's it, right?
And it's
So
cool
this
that you can choose the different languages too, um, to work in, that there's so many different options.
exactly, and it gives you, the best of both worlds because there are,
Mm,
business process management solutions that are advertise themselves as no code solutions,
mm,
which means that are rigid, that
mm.
there's not much you can do with it. You can only do what they offer, right? But if you want to
Yeah.
extend the capability, if you want to customize it to a certain level, you're not going to be able to do that, right? So that's something you can
Mm,
do with ProcessMaker. right?
But
You can
yeah,
extend it.
but it's nice that yeah, but it's also nice that this is more low code. So as you said, you don't need to be a programmer, you don't need to be fully versed in this to still use this technology.
Exactly. And these technologies are here just to speed up the automation process, right?
Mm,
So instead of spending, hours, it's just minutes, and then
mm,
it's done. So that's the other aspect of this. So the other point I would like to touch on is mm, process intelligence, since we only have a few more minutes left for this session, and there's a lot of
mm,
topics that we can cover.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, we'll definitely plan, to extend these webinar series and kind of have as I'm seeing now, and as I'm sure everyone online is seeing, there's so many capabilities. We could talk about Process Maker for hours.
exactly. Yes, exactly. So um, just to kind of recap what you can do with Process Maker, as a member of this audience, one of the questions that I would have is, where can I use it, right? What
Mm,
processes can I deploy or benefit from these type of platforms? So when it comes to business process management solutions or business process automation tools, these are tools that you can use all across the board, in multiple areas of the company, right? So it can be HR, it can be procurement, it can be operations, it can be finance, it can be IT. So any, human-centric process, any
mm,
form-based and approval-driven process that follows a specific, sequence of approval stages in the process can be automated with Process Maker, right?
mm,
So we have, companies in the financial services industry, in the banking industry, right, that have automated a loan application process, right? So we have, companies in other industries like telecom or insurance, right? Like the process to issue new policies, new life insurance policies, for example, right?
mm,
Core business processes can be automated with Process Maker, and that's kind of um, our ideal target customer.
mm.
Companies that have core business processes that have not been automated
Yeah.
yet and that need to be integrated with other applications. So Process Maker not only automates the workflow, but it also orchestrates the data between people and systems, in this case, siloed applications that they have, right? So again, human-centric processes that are form-based and approval-driven are a great candidate for
Mm,
Process Maker,
mm,
right? So before automation, and that's what I want to leave you with, is that if you don't know yet, which processes you would like to automate or you need to automate in your company, you have process intelligence for that, right? Process intelligence is a separate product we have. It is designed for process and task mining. So what it does is, following an agent-based approach, we deployed agents on different computers. Those agents will keep track of all the interactions that people have on the applications they use on a daily basis.
mm,
And based on that analysis, based on all of the data that is collected from these agents, throughout a period of time of 3 or 4 weeks, all of that data is consolidated in the process intelligence engine that runs on AWS. And and then based on different algorithms and AI tools, is going to come up with, first, a process map of how people are executing those processes. Process intelligence will allow you to monitor structured and unstructured processes, right? So if you talk about a structured process, let's say a claims process. So companies sometimes don't have clear visibility in terms of what is happening in that process or what
mm,
applications are being used by people, on a daily basis when they execute, tasks that are related to that process. So with process intelligence, we provide that visibility. We will show them What are the different stages that people go through when they execute that process? And what are those applications that are being used in each one of those boxes, right? In
Mm,
each one of those tasks? Because
good.
for most companies, these are black boxes. They don't know,
Mm,
what tools people are using. Could be they could be using Notepad,
yeah.
Excel,
It
Word.
helps, it gives them a, a clear picture of what's happening, what tools are being used, how they're being used.
Exactly. So once you have a clear picture of what it is that is happening in your process, the as is of your process, the real as is, right? Because you have the as is that consulting companies will provide you with, which is just documents that based on different interviews that they get from people, they come up with their own process map, and that's the as is. But there are a lot of assumptions, right? And there are a lot of things that
Mm,
they don't uncover. So the real as is can be provided with process intelligence. And not only that, process intelligence will show you what are those inefficiencies that you have in your processes, what are those bottlenecks that you have in your current processes,
mm,
because it keeps track of the times that people spend on different applications, how they use it, and why they use it. And the beauty of this is that it comes with built-in anonymity and data protection. So we really don't know who's doing what. If you ask me, if I can know that Sophia or spends maybe 2 hours on Facebook every day. Not that you do, of course, but that's the idea, right? That it
yeah.
comes with built-in anonymity and data protection, meaning that I'm not going to be able to tell that you are the one spending 2 hours or 3 hours in Excel every day, but I'm going to be able to tell that, this group of users that I'm analyzing through these agents are spending 3 hours a
Yeah.
day in Excel, right? So that's the idea. So this is a very interesting topic because
Mm,
this is something that companies can use to understand the as is of their processes. What are those inefficiencies they have? And this technology is gonna tell you what technologies you can use to make this process more efficient. And that could
mm.
be RPA, IDP, BPA, or
And
other technologies like generative AI.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's pretty cool too, because I'm sure it'll give companies ideas of technologies that they didn't even know existed, that they can use for some of these problems.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, we can have another session just to talk about that
Yeah.
and show you the different things you can do with it, right? But that's the beauty of it because when companies don't know where to begin or what processes that they could automate or prioritize in terms of automation, this will give them some light into that,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
Um,
Because
but yeah,
I think sometimes, starting is the hardest part. And if this platform helps them get, a clear picture of where they are, then it kind of speeds up that initial start to then, optimizing, automating their processes.
exactly. That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
with that, we have covered, most of the new capabilities we have in terms of how AI can assist you for process modeling and automation. There are a few other ones, like that the ones that we use for intelligent document processing. That's also something we can touch on a separate session.
Mhm.
The idea is that we can leverage AI to help us extract data from different documents and have that data that has been extracted from documents be inserted into different approval-based forms,
Mm,
right? That you have
mm,
in the automated platform. So there's a lot you can do with it. So there are a few
yeah.
examples we can show you in that sense as well, because this, uh, come hand in hand when it comes to automation, right? Sometimes you have an invoice approval process, right? And that invoice approval process needs you to, look at data that you have in specific documents. And the way people are currently doing when they have manual processes, they copy paste, information they have from documents into forms and whatnot. So that's the idea, getting rid of those
Yeah.
manual repetitive
Yeah.
tasks with automation, and in this case, IDP.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I know I definitely learned a lot, and I know there's still so much more to cover. Thanks for walking us through, kind of a little teaser into what Process Maker can do. Thanks to everyone for joining us. We hope today gave you a clear picture of how workflow automation can look and how tools like Process Maker can make it easier than ever to bring those ideas to life. We've got some more webinars on the way, so keep an eye out. Thank you again, Sergio. This was really, really great demo, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you to the Simplify team, and thank you everybody for joining this webinar.
Yeah, thanks everyone.